Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. 4.5 to 5 right now in favor of the Lions at home against the Seahawks. 47.5 is your total. Everybody knows my Seahawks love heading into the season. Everybody knows that was the bet that I was most wrong about last week. Seahawks go out, look like total garbage, and lose the game outright to the Rams. Now they find themselves as 4.5 to 5 point favorites. Now, this would typically be a spot, guys, in which I would say, okay, this was an overreaction. I had conviction on the Seahawks coming into the season, so this is where I'm going to pounce back on the other side. That is actually not the case, and I have a ticket in my account for the Lions at 4.5, and it is mainly because the Seahawks are going to be trotting out not one, but two backup offensive tackles in this game, because one has gone on IR, one is going to miss the game. By the way, Charles Cross, who's going to miss the game, might actually miss a couple of weeks for them as well. So they're definitely going to be down one for 4 weeks, and they might be down two for multiple weeks as well. Devin Bush was limited on Wednesday, and then DNP on Thursday. We always know when you get downgraded throughout the course of the week, that's absolutely horrible for all this. Now, they might get Devin Witherspoon back, which would be good for the Seattle Seahawks team, but that Devin Witherspoon unfortunately can't pass block for Geno Smith. And when Geno Smith had both of the backup tackles in there last week, guys, he was pressured on 57% of his dropbacks. So every other dropback, he was pressured with these backup tackles in there. Like Aiden Hutchinson was in the backfield constantly against Patrick Mahomes, against an offensive line that we would certainly say is better than the below replacement level that the Seahawks are going to put out there this week. I think it could be a nightmare scenario here again for Smith trying to get any sort of time to get anything done. I'm going to back the Lions here. And like I said, this would typically be a spot where I'd really want to come back on the Seahawks, a team that I had a lot of preseason conviction in. But with this injury report and this offensive line, just can't do it. Adam, what say you?
Pass overall in this game. I was with you on the Seahawks, and that was not for me so much a play on the Seahawks as it was against the Rams. And boy, did that end up burning you, me, and a lot of other people that I know in terms of how well the Rams played. And keep in mind, the game was Seahawks by 6 at halftime, and then everything fell apart in the second half for Seattle. I'll caution on Detroit a little bit. You want to talk about fraudulent wins from week one. For me, that's a bit of a fraudulent win for the Lions. A lot of things went their way. They had the extremely fluky Kadarius Toney play that led to a touchdown for them. There were moments where Jared Goff looked great, and you could see that Ben Johnson play action game really coming into play and opening up receivers. But it's not as though we think of this Kansas City defense as outstanding, right? It's a defense that we generally expect to be about middle of the pack. And I don't think Detroit looked fantastic going against them. So I'm not sure that Detroit's going to be in a spot to really take advantage of Seattle on the defensive side of the ball. This was a wild one last year when these two teams got together. I believe we had something like 93 combined points. I don't think we're headed that direction this year for the reasons that Matt just said when it comes to the Seattle offensive line issues, and also because I just didn't see what I wanted to see out of Detroit's offense last week. So maybe they get it going this week against Seattle. I don't know, but there's enough in play here for me to say that I'll pass on this one entirely.
Steven, the Seahawks secondary let Tutu and Puka each go for 119 yards last week against them. In comes Detroit, certainly with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who we imagine is going to get peppered with targets in this game, kind of play in that Puka Nacua role where he lines up, and the guys that he's going to be going up against. It's going to be interesting. It's the bet that I'm least confident in this week, but I can't see myself backing the Seahawks given their offensive line woes.
I could see why you'd be least confident in it because the preseason line was Lions -2. It's gotten ballooned out past the key numbers of 3 and 4, but at least as we record here Friday afternoon East Coast time, there has not been enough of buyback to get it back to the key number of 4. We're still sitting at 4.5. So the buyback has been on dead numbers. So I respect your opinion on the matchup with the Seahawks injuries. The price was too rich for me. So I decided not to bet it, but certainly based on matchups, your opinion is totally valid here, but it was a pass for me.